What up, guys? Welcome to Faded Town, the number one Pokemon podcast in the world. These are facts. Look them up in a book. Google it. Pokestats it. I'm pretty sure it's on Limitless at this point. First time tuning in. This is our Monday's episodes. Sit one-on-one with a player, person, anything, alien, whatever. Someone of the Pokemon community doing something cool that has something to talk about. That's what we do on Mondays. Definitely hit the subscribe button, like it. Like I said, if you watched the last podcast, we kind of go into real depth on like content creation and how much these little things matter, you know? So definitely hit that like button. If you're on audio only, leave me a review, please. I think that even if it sucks, dude, I think it would be hilarious. Someone give me a 1, but actually explain why it was a 1, because that's gold content. All right, so hit that up. But we got Will Jenkins on here again. We've had him before. Last time we talked to him, he basically gave us his Pokemon life story, like how he started, where's he at. He was quitting. It was over. Everything. This was his last season. He was on a fucking hot streak. He was looking good. Him and his team were dominating regionals. Worlds was looking in sight as his team, him, someone in this group was gonna win. Like, that's how good they were playing. And then they cut us all off. And now we're 7 or 8 months later. Where are we at? Well, what are we doing here? How's it going, buddy?
Well, first, I want to start off with thanking you for having me back on. As you guys know, Zach already said it, this is the number one Pokemon podcast. This is facts. I, personally, a longtime fan of this show, tried to overtake that spot with my own thing, but I failed. And this is still, 7 months later, the number one Pokemon podcast. So hit the subscribe button, the like, you know what to do. Other than that, you're right. We were on a hot streak. Life was good. I was in school. I was flying to international countries on the weekend. And then we were like, all right, fresh off a win for the group, a top 8 for the group. We're like, let's go to New York. Let's do some cups. New York, state of emergency. The weekend we are there. I'm like, hey, that's not good.
That's not good, dude.
Go home. We're ready to go to Toronto. Ready to play Pidgeotto or Pikarom. Someone hits me up. Yo, you still going to Toronto? I'm not going. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right.
Europe travel ban. Oh. Oh. So I cancel on my car. And then that was it.
That was it.
Pokemon's gone. Pokemon's just gone.
So gone. It's
insane. If you've listened to me on other podcasts, you know that I started playing Fortnite a lot and just completely dropped Pokemon and then ended up creating content. Fast forward to where we are now. I create content for Channel Fireball. I do one video a week on my own channel. Kind of slowed that down. Just school, work, and then I started my own little business on TCG Player, just buying, selling, investing, stuff like that. That's kind of where we're at now. I don't participate in the online events. I've only played 3. I've played Players Cup 1, Pog Championships, and then Players Cup 2, and that's kind of it. Like, I don't really play.
Literally only done the Pog Championships, and I found out about the Pog Championships 24 hours before it started. So, but like, I think it's cool. It's good to see something like that because I had Luke on last week, and he's balls deep, nonstop Pokemon, and like it's good to see the other perspective because that's kind of where I'm at. I just quit. Basically, just ran away from the game for 7 months, and finally coming back. But a lot has changed. And I think I really do want to dive into this whole jumping in on this Pokemon boom of, hey, I can't hold the product on my shelf. And this is how, because I've talked about Danny Phantom, who's pretty much made a YouTube channel telling everyone how to fucking start their own business, which I think is great. And as someone, as you said, you started your own TCG player thing, and I'd like to see how that works. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously I watched Danny Phantom stuff, but you don't see the results, So, when did you start doing it? Did you see like the boom and go, all right, let's do it, or were you there before the boom?
Yeah, so I didn't really understand the boom. Probably until Logan Paul did it. I started all this TCG player stuff up, probably in June. Basically how I got set up, I'm a huge fan of Danny Phantom's videos. Danny, great videos, great content, as you've mentioned. And anyone that's looking to start a business or do anything financial with Pokemon related, you should definitely check him out. Just a great content overall, and he really just gives back to his community, and just like there's no hidden secrets. It's all out there. Like one of his first big videos was how to get a distributor, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. And like that's one thing that you can kind of use to grow your business, is distribution and pre-orders and stuff like that. But as for the Pokemon boom, I kind of just started selling on TCG Player, here and there. I left a team called Ultimate Spice Gaming and went to Channel Fireball. And the owner of Ultimate Spice Gaming, Brian Galat, I reached out to him and asked him if he would kind of teach me the Pokemon business world. And he agreed. We kind of kept our relationship going, and he's still a great friend to this day. He helps me with everything. I've bought cards from him, and he mentors me pretty much. So before Danny even existed, I had Brian. And to me, Brian is Danny. Their teachings are like pretty identical. And it was really funny when I saw some of Danny's videos. I was like, Brian, you know that Danny's just like exposing this information, right? And he's like, oh, I had no idea. Checks it out. And he's like, yep, that's exactly what we're doing. And yeah, so I definitely got in there. And then the Logan Paul thing hit. That's kind of when it was like an awakening that, oh, stuff is going to start flying. And I knew that collectibles were increasing in price, but the Logan Paul thing kind of was just like, wow, this is about to explode.
Right.
That's kind of where I was before that.
That's dope. I don't think a lot of people seen it coming. I'm a person, I've talked about this a lot. I listen to Gary Vee, and he's one of person that invests a lot in Pokemon. He's invested over $1 million this year, he said, in Pokemon. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, but when he explained it, and he said, because he invested in sports cards, and he's found it very lucrative to do that. But the difference between Pokemon and sports cards is that Charizard never gets hurt. Charizard doesn't get tired. Charizard always is good. There's never... Yep. It's like having Michael Jordan card. Always good, because guess what? Michael Jordan don't play anymore. And, actually it's better, because guess what? Charizard can't do something stupid. Charizard's not gonna go get drunk and do something dumb, Charizard's always going to be expensive. Like, it's just... And when he explained it that way, I was like, it's so true. If you're going to jump into investing in cards, there's so much less risk in Pokemon cards. And when you look at Pokemon as a whole, it's like the number one grossing thing in the universe at this point. And it was super smart, and especially when you have people like him and Logan Paul endorsing it, it just the wildfire just starts, because the prices don't go down, because people with money are in this deep, and they're gonna want returns on this. So it is what it is now. But I think it's crazy. I wish I would have jumped in. Like you always say that. I'm like, I've been playing this game 5 years. At any point in those 5 years, I could have bought hundreds of Charizard base set Charizards for $20-$30 each.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure I've bulked my fair share of Evolutions Holo Charizards.
Right.
Like I own one, and I found it in a bulk box, because like when I was doing my business, I sorted everything. Everything is sorted at least by set and rarity. So I found one copy of Evolution's Charizard, and I know I've had multiple. Yeah. And like the corner is completely whited from just being in a bulk box. Right. So like I yeah, for sure, absolutely.
It sucks. It's like, but as a competitive player, there's so much. So like, I wouldn't even buy a product if it had an Evolution pack in it. Like I didn't want that shit. That shit was trash. It was like,
yeah.
And like, I personally think right now, Evolution is just super oversaturated, and you can get a Charizard from Evolution for like $50 on TCG Player, but to buy a booster box is like $600 or something. It's like that doesn't add up. Like where other product is a lot better. Like the money's there, but a lot of people are riding and dying on this PSA 10 thing. Like, what's your opinion on this? I feel like when someone tells me like, oh, this is $3,000 if it's a PSA 10, like, how often are we getting this PSA 10? Like, are you getting these? Like, that's my opinion. I don't know. Like, I don't think I've ever had anything graded, but I feel like if it's gonna be a PSA 10, like, there's a reason. It's not easy to get. So when I watch all these people that aren't Pokemon YouTubers, that aren't really deep, that jump on this bandwagon, they open these packs, like, oh, that's a PSA 10, I just send it in, I got $1 million. I'm like, is it that easy? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, so I think to answer this question, I kind of have to set the scene for myself. I don't, so like, because I'm really young, I don't have a lot of capital, and this business is obviously trying to do that. So WotC era and stuff, I try to avoid it as much as possible. It's just not like, I don't have that personal collection or connection to it because I wasn't even alive when that was booming. So it's like, to me, owning a base set Charizard is strictly monetary. There is no nostalgia involved in it. So I've done a lot more like modern stuff, competitive staples, competitive cards, stuff like that. And then as for grading, I haven't even sent in a grading submission. Okay. The $400 something cost that it takes. Well, I mean, so I have this stack right here that is just all cards that I'm going to send to grade. So, 40 something cards in top loaders, which I know they have to be semi-ridges, but whatever. So I'm just waiting to get something big enough and just send it and just bite that cost and then see. So I have cards in there that I think are PSA 10s or close to it, but I have no idea. And I do agree with you. I think people are way too like nitpicky on what they think is a PSA 10, and they just want to ride the hype of, oh, this could be a PSA 10, so I'm just gonna send it off, get it graded.
Right.
Now I think that sending cards to grade that could be like 8 to 9 are still worth it.
Okay.
But like people that are trying to flip modern cards and are just expecting PSA 10 on every card, I don't think they're factoring everything that can go into a PSA 10.
Right. That's what. So, like, I don't know, the whole like. Because the scene is so saturated with Pokemon at this point that, like, all I see is, like, oh, that's a PSA 10, and I've opened first edition booster box, and every card that they pull out is like, well, after accumulating, I've made this much money. It's like, but did you? And, like,
yeah,
I don't know. Because I see where you're coming from. You're more... kind of on the competitive side where you're selling singles and this, but it's like, how often is someone buying a first edition Drowsy? Like, I know you got a PSA 10 first edition Drowsy card. It's like, it's got to be such a niche where someone wants like first edition base set PSA 10 of every single card in that set. Like, that's I'm like, are you really making any money off that card, or are you just saying that? You know? Yeah,
and I think people, like, I don't know if people buy the first edition like cards like that. Like, people say they do, but do they actually? And I know that one of the big things about PSA grading cards is you need to like be able to flip them, because if you grade a card and you sit on it for 10 plus years and it just doesn't move, it doesn't sell, and like, the expected value is $500 or something, but you can't get rid of it. Like, what can you actually do with the card? Then you have to lowball yourself, and I mean, then you're getting into what did you actually pay for the card itself? You're grading it raw. You're taking the gamble that even gets a 10. And I'm sure there are people out there that want like PSA 10 the entire base set, but like it is so niche that you need to be able to flip it. So I think it's worth grading those cards if you can foot the bill for it instantly. And you also have to think this Pokemon boom has happened. And there are several thousands of people, maybe even tens of thousands of people that are just sending cards. Like, throw the cards at PSA, throw the cards at PSA. There are also many of these like $1,000 PSA orders just throwing cards at PSA. 6, 7, a year from now, we're gonna see these pops go up, way up, and people are just gonna have more of the cards because they're like, oh, there's money in this, and just get rid of it.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, I can't remember. I was watching someone, but they're like, well, there's only one PSA 10. It's like, right now, yes. I see it. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Let me try to grade this. There's only one. But by the time you grade it, how many are there going to be?
Yeah.
Like, how many are there going to be? And then who's buying it? I don't think people talk about the risk enough. I think a lot of these YouTube channels that you're watching, they have so much capital that they don't care. Like, the risk is really not there. And, like, it's fun to watch. Because stuff like that's always fun. Like, it doesn't matter in what situation. Anybody with a lot of money doing something that you wish you could do is always fun to watch. But at the end of the day, this is gambling. Like, you can sit here and say, "Oh, it's Pokemon cards, blah blah blah." But when you bring up a $10,000 booster box, and you're gonna crack it, like, we can't just sit here and pretend that that's like normal. It's like you're breaking this and you're gambling and hoping for the best. And I think the perception to your average person is that these people are all making money off this. Like, they're not losing, especially the way they open the stuff, and they're like, "Oh, PSA 10's going for this. There's only 2 of them." It's like, it's hard. It's hard to get the full breakdown because no one's ever going to do that. No one's ever going to show you the process of which would be awesome. I would love to see someone go take a first edition, I don't know, gym challenge or something, break down the whole box, keep it all, grade everything that they think should be graded, and then show the whole process of them making all their money back. Because that would be a lot more legitimate than what we're seeing right now, because I think a lot of people could get in trouble doing this. I think someone that isn't financially stable as much as these people could buy this $20,000 booster box, crack it, and now they have a bunch of cardboard. And yeah. I'm like, I don't know how good that is. Which, I don't know. It's hard to put that on blame on anyone. Because content's content. Especially because, like, these content creators are making money just off breaking stuff, which is super saturated because they're buying. I'm breaking $6,000 or 6,000 packs. Like, am I gonna get a good card? Obviously, you're gonna get a good card. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna eventually you open 6,000 packs. You'll get a shiny Charizard. All right. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
But I'd like to try to dive back into, like, the bread and butter, which is the competitive scene. The way you're talking with your small business, because you're on TCG Player, which, if you don't know what TCG Player is, it's basically just the hub for all card games. Like, selling cards online has literally, I mean, eBay. There's eBay and stuff, but that is like I would only sell my stuff on eBay and stuff in, like, a niche situation. I think if you want quick returns and, like, you have a lot of cards to offload, I think TCG Player is just the place to go. Like, I think anyone who is playing competitively, or pretty much anyone who plays competitively, TCG Player is always the go-to because it's nonstop. Like, at almost every major store, like, is on TCG Player, and it's it was fucking genius when they started that. They're like, we're just hub you don't need a website, you just put all your shit on my website, which is dope.
It's basically eBay for trading cards specifically in products.
Yeah, it's like, but it's not. I don't know. It's like, it's basically just for trading cards and product. Definitely check that out. But pretty much, what's the process here? Do you need a business license and stuff to do a TCG Player?
No. So, I mean, I would imagine if your sales volume gets super high to the point where, like, TCG Player wants you to fill out tax forms and stuff, I'm sure at that point you would probably need something like that. There's, in their settings tab, there's a little thing that's like, do you need to pay taxes or whatever to TCG Player? So obviously if you earn a certain amount, you have to pay taxes on that, just from, like, income tax in general. But there is something completely different from TCG Player that I would imagine is its own entity.
Yeah.
But as for me, I mean, I didn't start with a lot of stuff. I just kind of took personal inventory, and because I'm a competitive player, I bridge my cards, I riffle my cards. Pretty much anything I owned that was like strictly a competitive card was probably like super played. So I started putting aside paychecks, and I mean most of my paychecks I was just throwing into Robinhood and like investing in stocks, and then I have a Fidelity account that I throw money into an Roth IRA thing. But like I just started like kind of changing where I was putting my money, putting a little bit still over there because I really like investing, but the other just started going to this business. And I would just go on Verbank or whatever, and Verbank's the Poke Market, and just offer 60% on lots. Anytime I saw a lot, just send them a message. Hey, I see you have this lot. If you don't sell it to someone, I'll buy the whole thing at 60% right now. And worst that can happen is no.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people see this as like a very daunting task, or like, oh, you're gonna get labeled as a lowballer. But you got to remember, you are doing this to make money.
Correct.
Like you can't let emotions play into this. If they say yes, then you can negotiate. You know, maybe they want an extra $20 on top of what you're offering, and if you think you can make that margin, you do it. But that was really how I started my inventory. I just offered 60% on, you know, a lot that was probably worth $1,000-something, and ended up getting it for whatever the cost ended up being. Yeah, and it came in. I listed everything going off TCG lowest, and if you want to list stuff fast, get it sold quickly, you go TCG low all the time. And that 60% that you are paying is on TCG low, so you can factor that into it too. And I just started flipping that inventory. Just the collection flew really fast. There was a point where I had like 30 orders in a weekend on just the stuff from that collection alone. It kind of just like put it in perspective that you can, you know, people want cards, and once I realized that people are going to pay for, I don't know, what's a bulk view? We'll just pull one out. Naganadel GX from, you know, whatever. And I mean, that card has seen competitive play, but say it was just something even worse.
Yeah.
People want that. And once I realized that, I'm like, wow, people want everything. You know, they want their Sandshrew from whatever set.
Yeah.
Just because. So I started going through my, bulk. I have thousands of bulk cards. I just started listing. I listed all the extra trainers I had that was in like fine condition, all my bulk, everything. My TCG Player store has probably 8,100 something inventory now, and it's all just bulk. And I haven't even finished most of the like collections in bulk I have. So it was really just the process of like starting to buy things in bulk, start building up an inventory, and the bigger inventory you have, the more people will see your store name, the more people will buy. Your rep goes up. People want the reputable sellers, and from there it was just kind of just continuing that pattern. And really the biggest struggle I've run into is just finding the capital to do what I'm doing now, but at a bigger scale.
Yeah, I think that's super dope. I think when you say that, I'm like, in my head, I'm like thinking I have a binder that's just like stacked with trainer cards, and like you sit here and watch all the boom and shit, like they're throwing trainer cards out, you know, but it's like to a competitor, when I look at the trainer thing, I'm like, all right, this is the real cards. Like, this changes the game. But it's like, when you start talking about it, I'm like, oh, those, I could sell the shit out of that. I have so many copies. I have like 20 sycamores or some shit, you know, just put sycamores up there. Like you make it sound so easy. But like, at the end of the day, it kind of is, you know?
Yeah, so on a very basic level, the act of listing something and putting it out there on the internet and someone buying it is very simple. The problem then comes with, how are you doing this? Are you doing this for some extra side income? It's not like a big deal. Or is this something that you want to take from something very small and scale it upwards to maybe even like, you know, owning your own store, being a Troll and Toad? Like, obviously Troll and Toad is the #1 card thing, and it's very unlikely that someone becomes the next Troll and Toad. But like, if you think about it, you have all these stores out there. They didn't start from just not like from where they are now. They put money into something and built. So when you think that way, when you want to scale this into something bigger, and to me, I want this to be something that shows myself that I can run a business, that I can do this with anything. So if I can do this with cards, I can do this with houses.
Right.
That's kind of my thought process, and it's really cool to just be able to succeed in doing this, and then try and translate that to something else.
Right.
So, and when you get in that mindset, and this is something I learned super quickly. And another big thing is, if you make a mistake, learn from the mistake fast.
Right.
Don't linger on the mistake. And you listen to Gary Vee. I listen to plenty of financial advisors and Gary Vee himself actually. So like a lot of this stuff that I'm saying is probably going to be something that someone has heard somewhere around the line, along the lines. But fail fast. And it is so important to open a business checking account and keep everything completely separate from your personal, because it allows you to analyze costs, analyze profits so much easier.
Right.
I made that mistake early. For the first 4 months of my business, everything was combined with my personal check or like debit card. And I would be like, how much did I profit off this? And I would have to go like TCG Player and then figure out, this, and then there was like the random McDonald's order just in there, and it just doesn't, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
it just doesn't work.
Damn it. Yeah.
So that was like step 1. Separate those. Step 2, listening to channels that know what they're talking about. Danny Phantom, for example, is going to help you so much. You need to understand shipping costs. You can make shipping so affordable to the point where you can like profit off of TCG Player charging someone shipping, if you do it correctly. And like you have to be comfortable with taking risk as well. I ship $20 orders in plain white envelopes, and that's because if I buy a card for $12 or whatever, you get hit with fees, you get hit with tracking, and then you're making like $2 off that card, where you can make $5, something like that. So you need to understand shipping. You need to separate your checking accounts, and you just need to just be proactive. Look for stuff. Check your Facebook Marketplace, check your Craigslist, eBay, whatever, and don't be afraid to just buy things and take that risk and get into them. Obviously, do your research, but you'd be surprised what people are willing to sell.
Yeah, I think right when this boom happened, I had a binder full of base set, jungle, fossil, and base set. I had basically I just took all the first 150 Pokemon, all their hollows, and the set. I put in a binder, and the boom happened. I'm like, I wonder what this is worth. So I started looking at these cards, and they were so beat, it was disgusting. I'm like, why did I buy these cards? And I remember I bought them on eBay for $80, just because I wanted them. I was like, I just want a set, And then I started it didn't come with all the hollows, so over the years I just started buying each hollow. It's like, oh, it's $4 or some shit, So I had it all stacked, and then I started looking at them. They're so beat, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to sell this. And I was like, I looked on eBay. It was $600. Someone had one for $600. I was like, all right, I'm gonna put mine for $7. And in the description, I'm just gonna say they're beat. They're all beat. And then fucking I got, within an hour, I got 50 messages, and then within 3 hours, I had it sold. And then I had to message the guy. I was I'm like, you understand that these cards are not in good condition? And he's like, yep. I'm like, do you want to see any cards before I ship this shit? And he's like, nope. I'm like, thank the gods. Send that shit, got my money. Which I know that's such a thing that a nightmare that people don't realize. After you send shit, it's not, that money's not there. You might have sold it, but it's got to get there, and it's got to be good. You don't. I've heard a lot of fucking horrible stories where it's I have to give all the money back, and the fucking card showed up fucked up, or it didn't show up, or they didn't like they don't agree with it being mint and shit like that. It's how do you go about that? Do you when you, because on TCG Player you can put mint or played, there's a lot near mint, played. Do you just stick with near mint or kind of well played, or what do you or do you go and oh, this is near mint card? How do you do that?
So I don't really have a set strategy for this, but something that is kind of a blanket statement is I am 100% willing to full refund anyone's order that's unhappy with what they've gotten. And now, obviously, if they've ordered $300 in cards, or we're talking like 50 plus, like basically 50 plus, and they want a refund, I'm gonna need a little bit more information on what happened. Did obviously they have to tell me what the problem is. We have to deep dive a little bit into it before I give them a refund, just so I know as a seller where did I go wrong, or whatever. But if it's $50 or order, then maybe we take it to TCG Player, see what's going on, because you can't just be like, oh, my $50 order didn't come when there's tracking, right? So,
right.
But for anything under that, if they're unhappy with what's happened, maybe they ordered near mint, they got what they think is lightly played or whatever. It's whatever. I'll put the cost. And I've actually had people that I've like refunded, and they come back as a repeat customer.
Oh, that's good.
And I feel like working at McDonald's has probably helped me a lot in the customer service industry, because every time I respond to a refund offer or like a question about whatever, people are always like, thank you for being so professional, whatever. And they're always like, people don't get back on TCG Player, and you responded within like 2 hours. I'm like, how do you not respond to someone with like question? So, I mean, I've had 436 sales, I think, at this point, and I have 100% feedback rating.
Oh, that's great.
I've had mistakes. And I think there's a lot of orders that I refund before they go out, just because I'm like, I was tired. I did not see this card, listed as this. I'll message them. If they still want the card and lightly played, it would be the same price. So I'll message them, see if they still want it. If they say no, whatever. If they want it, cool. I'll just send it out.
Right.
But like sometimes, I listed these like 2 Sceptile EX full arts, and I put them as near mint. And I start packing them. I double check every order. I look at them. I'm like, these are like moderately played. How did I do this?
Right.
How did I mess up this bad? And I just messaged the guy. I was like, hey, these are clearly moderately played. I'll give you one free and just send them both, and partial refund one of them. He's like, yeah, dude, that's totally fine. Thanks so much for reaching out. So I just try to be very transparent with people. And I mean, worst case scenario, you lose a sale.
Right.
Like, you really, it's not that big of a deal. Now, if someone says that their order is missing, I've had this happen twice. One person said that I mailed cards and the envelope was empty, which, I mean, I've heard that this happens, and I was just kind of like, okay, when I get home from work, I'll look around my desk area, see if I can find the cards. Maybe they fell out. I don't know.
No.
So I look around my desk, I don't see them. I know that they're like, I know I sent them to the post office and everything, so everything should be checking out on my side. I can't find them in my office space, so I'm like, it was $1.46. I'll just refund it.
Yeah.
Whatever. If it happens again, there might be an issue. So, I just put the cost, just be careful, double checking every order and stuff like that. And then one person said it just didn't get delivered at all, and it was like a month of waiting. So I asked him, hey, just wait one more week. If it doesn't show up, full refund. So, I'm willing to foot costs like that. It's completely fine by me.
Right.
I would just get a little suspicious if someone says an order over like a big amount.
Yeah, I agree. I think like your company's not gonna make or break on $1 fucking card, but
yeah, and you really can't do anything honestly about cards missing, or if they claim that they can't do anything, it's not tracked, because in order to save costs, you have to ship some of these things PWE.
Yeah.
Like, you are not tracking a play set of dive balls,
right?
So if it goes missing, you kind of just have to take the L.
Yeah,
and that's not it.
Hey, that doesn't mean if you're listening to this that you fucking be a scumbag.
No. Yeah.
Don't be a scumbag. All right?
Don't do that.
as much as it sounds like you said, you can't really do anything about it. Just like, but I think normal like people are just not like that. Like,
yeah,
they're not gonna do that to people. But I mean, obviously there are some people that will, but the majority of people won't do shit like that.
Yeah, and TCG Player can see every interaction you have with the buyer and sellers. So, like, I would imagine if this is a repeat thing where they keep refunding orders or whatever, that they would catch on and be like, hey, you've had 7 orders go missing. I mean, I could be assuming, but that's
a good assumption, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I like that aspect. I like because no one talks about that I've talked to Danny and Papa Blasters and when I was going to jump into it, and they talked about stuff like that when it comes down to the quality and people wanting their shit back. But the way you explain it's really it's the right way to do it. If you're not gonna make or break your company on a $2 card. So if it's so much easier to just take the loss, be very polite and respectful with any customers, and like you said, they come back to you, and I mean, obviously, if it just they keep coming back to you with the same bullshit, all right, we're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it comes to a point, you know.
Yeah, you can escalate any thread that you want to TCG player. So if someone said an order is missing, I could just escalate it to TCG player, and they would handle it. But it's better not to do that because if you can figure it out yourself, it's probably better to do that. Another thing is I have a lot of the cards that I have listed are basically bulk cards. Whether you want to call them trainers or commons, uncommons. My EXGX, rarity, big rarity stuff is only an elite trainer box of stuff.
Right.
So anytime I list a trainer or a common uncommon that I know have been sitting in a bulk box and I have not looked at it myself, I just put it as lightly played.
Right.
Instantly. So and people pay near mint prices on lightly played cards if you have quantities of them. So you would be surprised. It's really not a big deal to just list stuff at lightly played. I'm very generous with my rankings. So if I think a card even has a dink that someone would get mad at, instantly lightly played.
Yeah.
And people still buy it. I have bulk EXGXVs that I list on there, $2.99 lightly played. People still buy them.
Yeah.
The same thing as a near mint at $2.99.
I do that. If I, as a competitive player, I'm taking the cheapest card. If it's playable, I'm taking. I don't care. I don't need it to be near mint. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna ruin it myself.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Obviously, I don't want damaged. But moderately played, I'll take that shit. Thank you, buddy. It is what it is. I think the competitive scene would be safe to say that you could stay afloat with a company diving into that. I don't. I know the boom right now is vintage and all these high things, but I think any company needs their bread and butter that is consistent. I don't know how consistently you're going to be able to ride or die on vintage, unless you're super invested in it before the boom. Right now, I don't think if someone's starting their company today could go, unless you just have crazy capital. If you have crazy capital and jump into vintage, sure. But as you said, I'm in the same boat as you. The capital is a building process, and I think the building process comes through the competitive scene, and you should get really familiar on what's good and the price drops and stuff like that. I think very smart.
I think that flipping Japanese and vintage is completely doable, and it's just what you're into. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And I stick to the competitive stuff because it's what I know.
True.
I can buy Crobat Vs all day and know that people are going to want that card. And luckily, I sold out of them before this happened. But you could have known that a Crobat V shiny was getting released in some form. They're not just going to print shiny V in Japan and just not bring it to the U.S. Mm-hmm. It's happened where they bring cards. I mean, maybe the off chance that it doesn't. But sure enough, there is now a premium collection box with Crobat V. So what's going to happen to Crobat V? Down. And, I mean, maybe it's just a couple dollars, but the couple dollars matters to a seller. You need to be on top of stuff like that. Yeah. And, that's just something, that's just one example of prices falling, but then there's prices booming. I don't know if anyone, if you listen to stuff like this, you might know, for anyone listening, metal goggles, you could probably buy that card at 3 cents all day from an unsuspecting collector or whatever. Metal goggles is $3.50.
Yeah.
And same with Scoop Up Net and competitive trainers. Yeah. We're in an online era and these cards are still expensive.
I think the best way I think I've seen is to buy cards on Instagram, because Instagram is full of collectors that take all these bulk trainers, that $3 fucking goggles. To them it's zero. There's no value. If you give them $1 for that, they are happy. If you give them 10 cents, it's they just want to get rid of their bulk. They're gonna give you it in their bulk. All those trainers that are worth $3, $4, $5 each, they're gonna give it to you in their bulk. And I know, it sounds scummy, but at the end of the day, you're a business, and it is what it is. It's not. it'd be different if he goes, "Oh, I have these metal goggles," and he knows that it's $3, and you're gonna give him 10 cents. But if you just go on TCG Player or you go on Instagram and make a post saying, like, if you follow enough people on Instagram, which it's very easy to do, and just make a post you're buying bulk, and you'll be very surprised the shit you can get in bulk. For the competitive scene selling. And like, I think Danny made a video about that when what was it? Custom catchers. Custom catchers were like $20 each or something. And he's like, I remember him, he had like a bulk order, had like 200 of them in the bulk. It's like, it's fucking gold. And like, that shit is that's how you make money. I think custom catchers were such a staple card in the game, and I think if you're gonna jump, I mean, obviously you can do what you want, but if you want to jump into this, the competitive scene, to understand the competitive scene, will only be beneficial.
A lot of these trainers that you can buy at 3 cents are basically penny stocks.
Yes.
Like a card could get rotated, making another card good, and that card that you bought a ton of just instantly like increases. And like, buying a ton of bulk is not something that I've really done because I mean, there is so much stuff that even I don't know.
Yes.
That most people don't know. And I would say I know a good amount of what goes on behind the scenes, and I think that a lot of these YouTubers are trying to bring some of that stuff to light, including myself on my own channel. But like, even I don't know all the stuff that goes on, and you got to think, like, why are people buying bulk?
Yes, there's a world of bulk that people don't understand.
Bulk, yeah, there's an entire world of bulk. People listed in lots on Verbank, they do whatever with it, and people just like have tons of bulk, and I just haven't bought into it a lot because I have eBay listings for these bulk lots that just haven't popped off. The reason that bulk lots don't always sell is because there are people that have 10,000 plus sales on eBay, 100% feedback rating, and they can cut those costs. Yeah. So, I mean, buying bulk is a world I plan on getting into later on. And now it's just kind of like, if I'm buying out someone's entire collection and they have bulk, I'll offer them a rate on it. Yeah. But even the 2 collections of bulk I've bought so far, there's gold. Yeah. Whether it's battle compressor, expanded trainers, whatever, there's plenty of good stuff in there.
I remember when I first started playing this game, bulk was seen to be useless. It was so, no one, especially in my local scene, everyone thought it was garbage. And then I got on Verbank, and someone was like, 2,000 bulk for a booster box. I was like, what do I got? Look what I got. I was like, cool. Went to my local store. I'm like, hey, do you guys have bulk? And they're like, yeah. And they have like 10, 15,000. I'm like, would you sell this to me? Like, yeah. Well, how much you pay? I'm like, what if I gave you like $100? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I just got like 50 boxes. Like, the shit I did, like, looking back, was like super scummy, but it was like it was genius. And I wiped out every store in Las Vegas of their bulk. I wiped out every player in Las Vegas of their bulk. And it's just, I don't know, I couldn't believe that I was the only one who knew this. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys don't know the value of this? The value of this is a lot higher than what you guys are doing. And like, being that one step ahead is just, it's so powerful, because I took that, and this is when fucking, what was this, Sky, or Shaman, Shaman set came out? Roaring Skies came out. I'm sitting on 20 plus boxes of Roaring Skies that I did not pay for. That I got off bulk. Like, you know how many Shamans you get out of that? Like, it's insane. And like, it's little things like that, and that's just being like one step ahead. And like, the person I've sell the bulk to, they're one step ahead of me, because they're doing something with it. Do I know? Yeah. I have any clue? I have no clue. I have no clue what they're doing. There's a whole new world. That secret's not out, and I think the secret, it might be out, but it's just such a small niche area that like it probably isn't profitable for everyone, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, for anyone that's made it this far, I want to give them a little golden nugget. And I'm going to upload a video about this on my channel at some point. I have no idea when this is going out. But you'd be surprised, even in right now, that what stuff people don't know. So Black Friday and Cyber Monday just happened. Yeah. TCG Player offered 10% kickback on whatever you purchase. And that's just like the extra of what I'm about to say. And maybe you know about this, maybe you don't. But as a TCG Player seller, and luckily I had Brian to help me prevent this, but if you don't list your stuff correctly when you're giving shipping guidelines, you can buy cards that are worth a lot of money for 1 cent, or 3 cents or whatever. And Zach, I don't know if you knew what I'm about to talk about, but here's how you do this. And you can do this with bulk Vs, bulk GXs, and stuff too. And it's really good to source them. Let's take Drapion V. I've done this several times. I think I have like 20 Drapion Vs now. You go on TCG Player, you search up Drapion V. You see all the sellers. You know, that card is probably like $1, $1.50, whatever. Set the filter to item price only. And then you're going to see a bunch of different listings for 50 cents plus $1 shipping. You know, 4 cents plus $1 shipping, whatever. You can do this on any card. It's not really likely on high-ticket items, but like bulk, trainers, good trainers, research, stuff like that. So Drapion V, 50 cents. Click on the seller. Shop from seller. And then you see that because they listed this card like this, they listed all their other cards like this. That $1 shipping applies to the order, not the card. Oh. So I bought tons of trainers, researches, Marnies, you know, Alterias from Champion's Path, various bulk Vs for disgusting prices, charged $1. Now, this method is not foolproof. If the seller realizes what you're doing, they just refund your order.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do about it. But out of the 14 or so items or orders that I made, I have gotten like 11 of them with confirmed shipping. And I just went on someone's store like 2 nights ago with my friend, and they had 80 like, I think my order quantity was 87 items. And it ended up coming to like 85 something dollars, but it was all bulk EXV.
That's crazy.
And I'm completely fine paying $1 on cards like that.
Yes.
And we're talking Talonflame Vs or Beetle Vs, Colossal Vs, like actually good cards that people are listing for this. And if you want to go the trainers route, I bought researches for 1 cent each. And if you can buy enough cards from that store to make the shipping cost, like turn those cards into like 3 cent cards,
that's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do. And then you like, say events come back, and now I'm sitting on 100 professors' researches, and the local area needs professors' researches. I have no problem selling them at 25 cents, 50 cents, $1 each, 75 cents each. You can just be like, oh, $1 for a place at a research that I paid 4 cents on? Boom. 96 cents profit.
Yeah.
And it is like, I'm going to upload a video on this, and I think it's a really cool video. It's not foolproof by any means, but, you know, if you find the right card, you know what you're looking for, you can make really easy money on TCG Player.
That's crazy to think, like, because like that happens because they're trying to keep the cost low, but the shipping's $1, so they end up the card's only selling the card for like 5-6 cents or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and then,
basically what happens is when you create a new TCG Player account, you are given like you have to charge shipping or something like that. So you can get that $4.99 shipping down to $1, which is what most people would do. And then a lot of these people just go like match lowest listing. Well, in order to match the lowest listing, it factors in the fact that you're going to charge them shipping. Mm-hmm. So it makes that card like 4 cents or a cent or whatever
it is. Yeah.
So then you go into their store, take advantage of this, and then you just buy them out. Now this is where, is that scummy?
Yes.
It could be. But
again,
that's their fault for not refunding the order. They have all the power.
You're one step ahead of them.
Full refund their order.
Yes.
And I mean, it's worked pretty well. I'm a big fan of buying bulk EXGXVs because at like $1 because I know there are people that will pay more than $1. So like worst case scenario, if I buy 100 bulk Vs and I know some person on Burbank sells or buys them for $1.25, it's 25% return.
Yeah.
Completely fine.
It's completely fine. I think like, so obviously they're gonna be people watching. Oh, that's so scumbaggy. But like, at the end of the day, it's a business, and being one step ahead of anybody, it's just the way you should do it. I think, if you're gonna jump into this business, you should take it serious. And if you're gonna sit there and just click a button and think that's how shit works and be lazy, you should you're taken advantage of. That's just how it works.
And I mean, like, something like that is the same as you going to a garage sale and finding little Timmy's binder for $20 and there's a gold star in it. Like, I've done that too.
Yeah.
I've done every trick in the book for stuff like this. But like, you gotta think, if you go, oh, Timmy, your Vaporeon gold star is worth $1,000. If that's not what it's worth,
it's probably more than that. But yeah.
Okay, but we'll stay at $1,000 baseline.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I buy cards at 60%. I'll give him $600 right now. No. What?
No.
You can make $980 on that card.
Yes.
And you're gonna offer him 60%, and then he's gonna be like, Mom, he's offering me $600.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But like you kind of have to just understand that this is a part of it. People, like the people that have the capacity to do pre-orders or have Champions Pass stuff and are marking it up. You know, I don't really think that scalping is good, but I understand what they're doing.
Yes.
I'm not on Burbank post being like, how dare you, charge $100 for this card or this box when it's only MSRP. Supply and demand. Like, they don't exist. If you want it, you gotta buy it.
Right. I think there's a place for it. Like, if you're a fucking backpack vendor, which basically what you are, I don't see any problem with that. But if you're gonna be a retail store, like, for you to just go, I can't stand that. I can't stand if I go to like a retail store, even like a local card shop that has a store that sells stuff, and that they're like, this booster box is, I know it's Vivid Voltage, it came out yesterday, it's $150. I was like, I can't stand that. I'm like, you're a fucking store. Like, you should be past fucking trying to fuck people over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. But that's like if Target was selling fucking EBTs at $100. Like,
yeah.
Please.
Yeah, and like, I understand people's hustle. You know,
Yeah.
I'm technically doing the same thing they are, but with a different item that's more acceptable. I don't know if the listeners or you are familiar with Amiibos, the like little Nintendo figures. I was super into that. I didn't flip them. I just liked holding them. But people would go to Toys R Us's and different places that have them and buy them out and then flip them online. Like, flipping is just a thing. It just exists.
It's just
Anytime that demand is high for something and there's not a supply for it, people are going to charge whatever they want on it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think retail stores should stay true to, whatever the accepted MSRP is. But you've heard Danny preach about this. He's going to stay true to the best of his ability on pre-orders and stuff like that. And past that, it's kind of just the market.
Yeah.
Right now, box prices are $140 something. Like, it's just kind of that's just kind of the thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. The whole thing's it's just a different world right now. The way the prices, I think it will go back down, especially on new stuff that comes out, because that's just how it is. I mean, obviously we got that fucking shiny Fates whatever set coming out, and that's gonna be some crazy nonsense.
And at the end of the day, this all like really stems from Pokemon too. Or I don't know if Pokemon's in charge, but whoever's printing this stuff, if they printed more, this wouldn't really be an issue. There is a boom right now that is causing more demand, but they should be taking advantage of that. They should be like, Vivid Voltage, flood it, just let it go, let the printers run, just keep going. And it sucks for me too, because I want to scale my business. I want to do pre-orders on cool sets, and I'm very, I might take advantage of someone on TCG Player as a buyer, but as a seller, I am all about customer service. I'm all about giving people deals and stuff. So I've offered to my local area like 80% off, or I'm sorry, 80% of MSRP on pre-orders. So, and this is just, it builds a client base. It gets me reputation with distributors. You know, this is upsides for me. So no, I'm not making, you know, a ton of money on pre-orders. But you know, I've offered this to my local area, so don't PM me if you're from, you know, fucking California or something and want product at that. But, you know, if they don't want to pay shipping, they can come pick it up from my house, or I can ship it to them, whatever. And it sucks that I have, you know, people in the local area that I care about that want this stuff. They can't get it from other people. I couldn't get it, and I emailed my distributor. I'm like, hey, I want this. You know, we're talking like 10 cases of the Shining Fate TTBs, right?
No.
And they're like, maybe you'll get one.
Maybe one.
It just blows. Like, the allocation is so sad.
Yeah.
Because it just like really limits what you can do and what people can buy. Because I'm just trying to help, you know, the people in my area. And yes, I'm making money off it. Yes, it benefits me. But at the same time, they get a place that they can buy stuff for 20% off.
Yeah.
If they think,
or just retail. Like, if you sell at retail, it's almost a discount at this point.
Yeah, at this point, retail isn't a discount. Yeah, but like, it just sucks for me because I know that I'm gonna have to send this email to these distributors, and the likelihood is I'm not getting that order fulfilled.
Yeah, especially.
It just sucks.
Do you think a lot of it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it? Because like, you're so new. Do you think you're probably the last person that's gonna get a lot?
Yeah. So the first distributor I signed up for with this was. I got in it before Boom, so I know that there's a little bit of drama with like distributors not accepting applications or whatever. I ordered, you know, I asked for like 2 cases of Champions Path UTVs, just for myself, just to hold on them, and I was given 3 on the first wave and 7 on the next wave, so I got 1, and that's pretty good, you know. It's whatever. That's more than anyone else has for the most part.
Right.
So, you know, that's acceptable. And then I opened a second distributorship with someone else that I had worked with when I was 14.
Nice.
Because I had a different thing then. Opened that account. So now I have 2. So I'm going to try and mitigate, you know, what I can get by having 2. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, especially now, if you are opening your account now, people are going to be like, this person just wants it to, you know, resell it or whatever. They're speculating.
Yes.
But it's very unlikely that they provide to you. And what even sucks more is you have people that have been in the game like Danny, 5+ years, and he's talking about he can't even get his pre-orders for Vivid Voltage pre-order box or pre-release kits.
Yeah.
Like, no one gave no one cared about pre-release kits until Charizard was in them, and they're like, buy.
Yeah, that's crazy. The whole thing's crazy. But like, if you can get in, I think right now is a really good time to get in because the money is basically just it's a money printing machine. Like Danny said, he can't keep anything on his website, and like if that means a bot comes in and buys everything, at the end of the day, as a company, you're making the money. Like, I know it sucks, and like Danny's talked about it where he doesn't like that a bot comes in on his website and just buys out anything he puts on it. But morally it sucks, but your bank account looks good.
Yeah, and I'm not telling people to scalp or anything because I'm also against it. I just understand people's hustle. You know, it is a thing that works in society. It happens for a lot of things. It's not just Pokemon.
Yes, it happens in everything.
There's not a whole lot I can do about it to prevent it. So I mean, you got to respect the people that are doing it. Now here's the difference. If you're going to Target or Walmart or some literal retail store about to pay MSRP on Elite Trainer Box, you whip out your phone, take a picture of the shelf. Hey guys, what's good here? I'll sell it to you at, you know, whatever. It's like, why? Just do your research.
Yeah, you don't know nothing.
You see these posts, it's like 40, 50 comments, just like, I don't know, people are just so mad.
I can't stand that.
So I'm very against, but I understand the people that are buying stuff and, you know, charging more because that's what it's worth. That's fine. I mean, I get it.
And I think there's a way to go about it. I don't think I need to see you with your Target cart or your shopping cart where you took everything out of my local scene and like I just don't like why. That doesn't like you're just asking for conflict when you do shit like that. Like you could totally just go do that and put them on eBay or do whatever you want without saying a damn word. And
Yep.
like by doing something like that, you're just inviting that stuff. And I mean, if that's what you want, I mean, it's kind of a fuck it up situation, and you should probably just think about like why you're doing the things you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm a strong believer that if you're gonna charge, what people want are asking at some of these price points right now, you should not be posting in Facebook. Like,
Right.
take the fees. Go do it on eBay. Hide your identity at least. I
Right.
mean,
I don't know. The whole thing-
people are gonna buy on eBay, and they can't leave you comments in your comments description telling you that
Right.
you're an awful person. Like,
You're
bite the 13% on that crazy markup that you're getting,
Yeah.
and do it that way.
Yeah, it's a. I don't know. People. I don't know. People are. They don't give a fuck. They're like, they. I mean, in my opinion, they invite that drama, and
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're winning, and they don't care. But you gotta be nicer. We've been. I think at every podcast we've talked about be a nicer person. I mean.
Yeah. It's incredible how being nice can just like put you ahead. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if we touched on this in the last podcast we did, but like a lot of me climbing to success was networking, and just like I had some bad experiences when I started the game with certain people that you could say is bullying, and my response was just kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
Just continue to be nice to people. You make relationships, you make friendships, like you just grow your network of people that way. And I mean, it's the same thing with my sponsorship with Brian. Like if I had left him and be like screw you,
Right.
I'm going to something better, I never would have gotten the treatment that he gave me. I was nice about it. I was like, hey, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity that you gave me. Obviously COVID shut down events and stuff, and it wasn't whatever, but like I'd love to learn about the Pokemon business and continue our relationship. Like just be nice to people. It's so easy. It's so easy to be nice to people.
Yeah, I mean, I've burned my set of bridges before, and it's something I think you kind of always regret, even if like that bridge never had an opportunity to mend again. But like, you always look back, and there's never a time if you're negative that you feel good about it later. So like, just be nicer. And the Pokemon selling world is cutthroat. Like at the end of the day, if you're gonna get into this business and if you want to talk about this business, there's ways to go about it, and there's ways not to go about it. And it's all about making money. And I mean, we're gonna wrap this up, but it's like throughout this podcast we said some stuff that I mean sounds very scumbaggish, and but if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. And you got to take advantage of stuff. And especially when you're up and coming, like you have to make your capital some way. And if it's taking advantage of opportunities that other people don't do their research, or laziness at the end of the day, that's, in my opinion, that's good on you. You took that effort, and you're one step ahead of someone.
Yeah, and I would hope that people don't listen to this and get to the end and be like, "Oh, this Will Jenkins guy's kind of a scumbag," right. Because that wasn't really my point with that. As a seller, and I care very much about the client relationship that I make. And TCG player is me behind a screen. I don't have that in-person relation. But when events come back, I want to be able to do deals in person, and make sure that people are getting value. I'm getting value. Like I want it to be a win-win all the time. And the whole point with me and my local client base is these are people I care about.
Yeah.
And like, I would never want to rip them off for anything. I'm very transparent. I tell them what I'm buying the stuff at. I'm telling them, yeah, I'm making a profit because I'm not gonna do it for free. But I'm very upfront about stuff like this, and I care very much so about the relationship.
Yeah.
I've worked at McDonald's for 3 years now, and I've had my fair share of customers that are just
right. I know.
Yeah, and like there are so many people where I'm just nice to them and they end up coming back to the drive-thru and they recognize me as the person that helped them with whatever their problem was, and they're still there. Like, if I had to deal with someone that had a bad experience every time I worked, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
So, I care very much about the relationship that I'm providing, and as a buyer, it's very transparent too. When I message people about buying their lot, I'm not like, "Hey, I'm lowballing you and offering this." It's like, "Hi there." Full transparency is the first thing I say. I'm about to offer 60% on your lot. If you're cool with that and you want to sell it to one person, feel free to message me back. If not, have a good day.
Yeah.
And, if they say no thanks or whatever, I'm like, cool, thanks for the response, move on.
Yeah.
You can't let, you need to just be nice, and, you can't let emotions play into stuff like this.
There's, I think we touched a lot, and I think anyone who's watching this and you want to get into this, TCG Player is a great place to start. Especially if you have cards sitting, if you're a competitive player and you have a binders sitting full of cards and you might be over the game. It's been 8 months since we played. Make a TCG account, start selling, and just do research. I think research there's so many avenues now, especially with the boom, obviously a lot of it is vintage and very high stakes stuff, but there's people like Danny Phantom who will sit here and tell you exactly what it takes to run a small business, especially starting from scratch. So I think Will did a great job too. I think he had a lot of insight, a lot of stuff that, like, I've been saying, I play this game for 5 years, and there's stuff that you told me today that's like, okay, after this podcast, we're gonna hit up TCG Player. We're gonna check this out, And
yeah,
it's small things like that change the game,
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I think, like, you wouldn't say shit, like, if you didn't think that there's enough room for everyone, And I think we're getting to that point in transparency in Pokemon where the boom is so big that there's enough room for everyone, So, and I think Danny said that enough on his shit, where the reason he does this is because he believes we all can profit from this, we all work together, and if we don't do it scumbaggish ways and we're good people about it, I think everyone's a win-win. And you said that with the thing, it's all about making a win-win. People want Pokemon product, you want to make money off Pokemon product. Let's find a way to make this a win-win situation,
Yeah, and when you're paying 60% on a lot, that 40% that you're not giving them is your time, your shipping stuff. Like, if they want to, people have full-time jobs. They can't afford to do this. I'm a student. Yeah. I work part-time, and this is like what I do from 12 a.m. to 4. Right. This is like my sleep time is what I'm doing. No. If people with full-time jobs, they don't have time to list every card and do stuff like that. No. So, like, that's kind of it's like a fee almost. No. That 40% is you making money, but it's also a fee to them. You're giving them convenience. And if they don't want to take that and they would rather do it themselves, that's, completely fine.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good. I think it's crazy to see our conversations from the last podcast to this one. It's like it's a different world with COVID and everything. Yeah. If this was normal, we'd be talking regional. Some type of regional probably just happened. And ADP can burn in hell, But now we're talking businesses, which is dope. I think it's always fun to hit different avenues of the Pokemon world, and I really appreciate you coming on, giving your insight on a very brand new come up on this TCG Player. And if you have any shout outs or anything, you can get out the floor, remember.
Thank you. So, Zach, obviously, thank you for having me on. If you guys haven't subscribed by this point and you're still here, this has been going on for a while. Hit that sub, give your boy Zach some love. So thank you so much for having me on. Big shout outs to Brian Galat. He has helped me so much with this information that I know. Danny Phantom, although not directly, messaging me or whatever, I've had a few interactions with him. His content is incredible. We've listed him so many times. And once again, if you're still here and you've heard his name that many times, you should probably check him out if you haven't already. But like my final parting thing, do your research. There are so many hidden gems and things out there. Even my small channel of 500 something subscribers, like I'm a competitive player that is putting out information that is not what people want to hear on my channel.
Right.
And I'm doing it because I love it. I love finance. I'm all about it. I've watched countless hours of, Gary Vee, Graham Stephan, Rich Dad, Poor Dad type stuff. I love it. I'm into the finance world so much. And they always say, read books, do your research, and take risks. And make sure those risks are calculated. Don't be dumb about this stuff. It's numbers at the end of the day. But that's it for me. So thank you, Zach, once again. And that's all I have.
Awesome, bro. Thank you again for coming on. Tune in Thursday. We'll be back with the boys talking some mess. I think we're gonna, if we haven't already, we're gonna do some like pudding fucking reviews. We found some weird shit. So I don't know. That might have already happened. It might not have. We're stacking up the videos here, but every Monday we'll have these one-on-ones. Every Thursday will be some type of Pokemon breakdown with the boys. I'm sure Will be on one of those episodes one day. But for now, guys, we're gonna scoop it up.